against Rosser as well. So it's just fun to do it all over again, just like the old days.
8 national titles combined between these two programs. 11 straight D2 national title games. UND, NDSU so represented at that level, trying to find success in the D1 era. You see the starters at the bottom of your screen. Emily Dietz, Riley Newdell, a couple North Dakota kids for the Bison in the starting 5 today. For UND, Melissa Leet, who made a return to the lineup after missing over a month with the broken hands. She played so well against South Dakota State. Travis Brewster giving her the start here this afternoon. There you see the 6'6" big from Alaska. Both teams maybe showing the nerves a little bit early. A quick one and done for both sides. North Dakota State in the road gold and green. UND in the home white. And Kelly Green is Sofija Zivaljevic, the junior from Montenegro, able to knock down the jumper to get things started offensively. Great to have you with us on a Sunday afternoon from Grand Forks alongside Val Sussex and our Midco-SN crew. I'm Alex Seinert. Final home game of the season for UND. Trying to end things on a high note. Julia Fleece getting things going offensively for the Fighting Hawks. Nice dish from the lone senior today, playing her last game in the Fighting Hawk uniform here in Grand Forks.
That was a good play action for North Dakota. Sometimes they get tunnel vision, and that time Elena did a nice job turning the corner, and then a good roll from Julia Fleece found her pretty open on the block.
Riley Newdell down low, Buffalo, North Dakota native. All-time leading scorer and rebounder in the high school ranks in the state of North Dakota out of Maple Valley High School. And that gives us a chance now to talk keys to the game, brought to you by the University of North Dakota. What stands out today, Val?
For North Dakota State, half-court execution. North Dakota State has a really, really good half-court set that they run, and when they get people in the right spots, good things happen. And for North Dakota, play in control. Multifaceted there, Alex. Control your turnovers. Don't get going so fast that you make poor decisions, and just play really good basketball.
Good example of that. Melissa Leet getting free inside. Able to convert at the rim. She'll head to the free throw line.
Yeah, one of the keys for the North Dakota team was really run in transition. Beat your team, beat the other team to the spot, and that's what Melissa Leet does right there. She gets to the block first, and with that tall, long frame, it's pretty easy to throw the ball up and let her go get it.
Leet averaging 8 points, 6 boards, nearly 3 blocks a game. She was one of the nation's leaders in blocks before she got that injury. Both coaches going to the bench early. Ryan Cobbins, who had a huge game against UND, a career-high 22 points down in Fargo in the first meeting. The freshman from Kansas City will take a seat. Danica Bagley out there for the first time, as is this young lady, Raquel Terrer Van Gol, a freshman from Spain. She doesn't connect at the rim, but is fouled in the act. Or at least in the loose ball, excuse me. It'll be North Dakota State possession underneath the basketball.
Yeah, I think a big key for both teams tonight, Alex, is rebounding. North Dakota has the advantage on the boards, but they absolutely have to box out and rebound, and that's something that North Dakota's been a little flat-footed on lately. So both teams really need to value the basketball, go get those offensive rebounds when they can, and box out on the defensive end.
Danica Bagley called for the offensive foul. The junior from Winona, Minnesota. 5-2 our score, early stages. I mentioned the rebounding. North Dakota State has been one of the best rebounding teams in the Summit League over the last couple of seasons. They're third in the conference in that category. Jacqueline Jarnett able to pick up the leap miss and finish at the rim. The sophomore with 8 boards, all coming in the first half in that loss against South Dakota State on Thursday. And now another steal here, the second turnover forced by Claire Orth in the opening 2+ minutes. But the sophomore guard gives it right back.
Yeah, Claire really didn't really have her best game last time out against South Dakota State, Alex. She got those 2 quick fouls in the first half and saw pretty limited minutes. So it's important for Claire to get her feet going, and she can be one of the best defenders on the court, and that's why Coach Brew has her out there. So if she can grab some of those steals and then take care of the ball on the other end, she'll have a great game today.
Orth, the only Fighting Hawk to start every game this season, as Travis Brewster has plugged in 11 different players into his starting lineup. Good look at Terrer Van Gol getting to the rim once again.
Yeah, North Dakota is trying to figure out how they want to defend those ball screens. Historically, North Dakota has been one of those hedge and show type teams where the big jumps out and shows. Today they talked a little bit about T-boning and wanting to force their player into the screen, letting the guard sneak through. That time there, they just kind of Jacqueline Jarnett got stuck and she couldn't get through either way. So North Dakota has got to figure out how to defend those ball screens if they don't want to spend a lot of time at the free throw line today.
That was an area where the Bison hurt North Dakota in Fargo. 32 for 38 from the line on that January afternoon. Terrera Van Gogh able to knock both those down. It's a Bison team that shoots it well from the stripe, 75%, third best in the conference. Is Elena Jarnett gets free on the drive, past Zivaljevic, and in for two.
A great double back screen action, two big screens. They saw the first one coming, didn't see the second one coming, and that's the one that really opened up Elena Jarnett and helped her get all the way to the rim.
Elena averaging 6 points a game this season, more of a distributor, over 4 assists a contest, second best in the league. She plays with so much pace and passion. Again, the lone senior for UND playing her last home game today. Michelle Geislerova, who's been so good against UND in her career, over 17 points a game in 4 meetings all time with UND. She had 22 last time out against the Fighting Hawks. Riley Nudell able to step up and knock down a tray. A solid senior campaign for Nudell, the lone senior on this Bison team. 2-point basketball game. Seven to shoot. Fleece able to get free. Great persistence by Julia Fleece in the paint.
Yeah, Julia Fleece put on a couple miles in that possession, running out for ball screens on each wing and crossing the lane about 3 or 4 different times. North Dakota is doing a pretty good job of moving the ball with the pass. In the past, they've got that ball that sticks just a little bit. So I think if they can keep moving that ball with the pass, good things are going to happen.
Nudell at the other ends. Able to muscle that one over Fleece, but off the mark. Here comes Jarnett in transition. It's a Fleece for 3. This one too strong. Zivaljevic now, right at Jarnett, stripped away by Jacqueline Jarnett that time. Good help defense from the sophomore. Basketball will stay with the Bison.
North Dakota State has a few kids that really like to run in transition, and this is one of them. When Sofija Zivaljevic gets going, you got to know where she is, and someone from North Dakota has got to stop the ball sooner than the lane like that. They got pretty lucky there that they didn't send her to the free throw line.
Saw the junior point guard making her case to the referee that, hey, she grabbed my arm that time, and you can see on the replay that's maybe the case. Cobbins now back on. Can't get the shot to drop, but she'll be going to the free throw line for 2. Ryan Cobbins, the freshman from Kansas City, a 4-time All-State selection in the state of Kansas, over 1,000 points in her high school career. One of those winners that you want to have in your program. 3 top 3 finishes at state. Only lost 7 games her entire high school career. I would imagine that Joey Collins saw a lot of her in person in this time at Emporia State and then at Kansas. Nice to have that pipeline to bring with you up to Fargo.
Yeah, she's a great player and a really good get. She had 22 the last time these 2 teams met in Fargo. So I know that North Dakota has really keyed on her, just saying, keep an eye on her, know where she's at. She's got one really quick step off of that dribble, so you have to play good defense with your feet and not start reaching.
Emily Dietz now back on, replacing Vaguely inside. Dietz having a strong junior campaign, 11 points, 8 rebounds, the Shanley High School product. Kayla Renke out there now for the first time as well for North Dakota, along with Casey Baravich. Nice feed from the freshman inside. Fleece too strong. Good battle in the paint. It'll be a jump ball. Possession will stay with North Dakota. It almost felt like Julia was expecting contact and pushed it up a little bit too hard off the glass that time.
Yeah, Julia Fleece is working really, really hard. A much-deserved break for her. Smart subbing there with the media timeout coming. Hopefully on the next whistle, she can get a little blow and get back in. But got to keep your feet moving on the block.
Allie Van Leeuwen in the game for the first time, the freshman from Wisconsin. Nice footwork on the block.
That was a really good catch and finish by Allie Van Leeuwen. This is a big game for a freshman to play in who hasn't played very many minutes this year. So to catch like that and make a solid post move, definitely a good idea.
Zivaljevic fouled on her way to the rim. 4:47 left in the first. Elena Jarnett, the lone senior on North Dakota's roster, recognized before today's game. She's trying to go out a winner here. Good look at Marlon Stewart right there in Deshaun Allen Aikens. Those two still reveling after a big rivalry win last night in this building. Marlin with the career-high 35 points. The shot heard round the Peace Garden State with 0.9 seconds left. A big step-back three to win that game by 3 points over the Bison. What a fun atmosphere last night.
Yeah, it was loud. It was really, really loud, especially the last 3 minutes of the game. It was so fun to know that there was a lot of stuff going around last night in Grand Forks and to have so many people in this building. And we talked about it earlier. Marlin wasn't shooting exceptionally well. He had 35, but wasn't shooting the three very well and still had the courage to step up and take that one. And I think he said it was his first game winner he'd ever taken, which is kind of crazy to believe because he's scored a lot of baskets in his life.
Zivaljevic good from the line, 2-point basketball game. A miss here at the other ends. Bison now a chance to pull level or pull within one. Dietz on the block, but then Van Loo still in the ball game, and Emily Dietz showing off the skill. Van Loo the other way, high off the window, but does not get the shot to drop. Zivaljevic in transition. Tough shot, fading away on the baseline.
Yeah, she did a nice job holding her line and playing into that contact. Michaela Reinke was right there, and there was a big bump, but held strong and finished through the contact.
Zivaljevic, who started her career at Iowa State, played 8 games as a freshman, did not play as a sophomore, and that allowed her to preserve that year of eligibility. Transferred to North Dakota State. She just had to sit out the first semester of her redshirt sophomore year. Been a good addition to this program as Borovic defended well by Cirkeline Rimdahl, the sophomore from Denmark, on the baseline. Cobbins open for 3. No second chance for NDSU this time. 30-second timeout called by Travis Brewster. A little run here for North Dakota State. 6-0 in favor of the Bison over the last 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's a good timeout for North Dakota. There was some subs sitting there on the bench that needed to get in for North Dakota to kind of stop that little bit of run, and especially get Melissa Leet back into the game where she makes such a difference.
Today's contest, the 83rd meeting all-time between these two. They began playing in 75 or maybe 67, depending on who you ask. Again, like every rivalry, neither side can really decide when the first official meeting was. UND's had the majority of the success in the D1 era. They had won 8 meetings in a row entering last year, but the Bison have won now 2 of the last 3, including that first meeting back in Fargo in January. The home team, by the way, has won the last 4 meetings in this contest.
I think that has something to say about the fans in each arena, right?
Yes.
So you've got really good fans here at the Betty. You've got great fans down at the Shack in Fargo. Fans make a huge difference. They bring a little bit more to the table in these rivalry games, and you could say maybe even last night the fans willed North Dakota men through to a victory, and I think the same thing holds true for each of these teams when they're playing in their own building.
North Dakota State has not won a game in Grand Forks since 2004. There was a little gap there when, of course, the two did not play in the transition days. But 16 years, a long time. They're trying to break that streak here this afternoon. Another turnover for the Fighting Hawks. 4 now in the opening quarter for UND. Geislerova. She does that side step so well to create space, and she's a deadly shooter when she gets an inch.
Yep, and that time Megan Zander ran right into the screen. Exactly where she didn't want to go is where she ran into it. So North Dakota's got to figure out how they're going to defend the ball screen. They can't run right into it.
Fleece able to pick up the loose basketball after Leet was able to find it on the baseline. You can see the limitations of Melissa Leet with that club on her right hand. It's a soft cast, but that's got to limit your ability to catch the basketball, and we saw it there. Geislerova right back at the other end. North Dakota State's leading scorer, nearly 14 a game, starting to heat up here. 17-15 our score. Both of these teams deadlocked at 5 and 8 in the conference standings, in a tie for 6th place. Fleece tied up and lost the basketball. A travel against the junior from Iowa.
Now that was a tough possession for North Dakota. They seemed to be a little bit out of whack, and then Julia thought she saw a lane to penetrate, and she just didn't have anything. Went right into 3 defenders. Should have maybe get that ball to the point guard and reset.
Claire Orth, Megan Zander on now for the Fighting Hawks. Zander, the reigning Miss Basketball in the state of North Dakota from Mandan. A lot of in-state talent on both these teams on display today. Cobbins able to get to the baseline and finish. Cobbins averaging 10 a game in her debut season. Zander, strong drive for the freshman. Dice Larova again able to get free. This time the tray does not drop. Zander, who can shoot these, just a little bit too strong. Jacqueline Jarnett, who clattered into. Good to see her pop back up for a moment there. It looked like she hit her head on the floor, but was able to control the fall and looks no worse for wear.
Yeah, there's a lot going on the block there, especially with Jacqueline Jarnett and Riley Nudell were battling on the block even prior to that rebound coming off. So we've got to watch that matchup on the block if Jacqueline thinks she's going to post up.
Leet now gets the basketball stripped. Jarnett, though, right there to pick up the change. Back up to her older sister, Elena. The Jarnett's from the Twin Cities. 3 to shoot now. Jacqueline has to fire it up. This one off the mark. Shot clock turned off. Final 19 seconds of quarter number 1. Nicole Scales here, the freshman from Illinois, with the basketball. Bagley now. Serrera Van Gool. Scales with 1 to shoot. Did she get it off in time? It doesn't matter. North Dakota State a little out of sorts on that last possession, but they will take a 2-point advantage into the second quarter. 10 minutes gone here in Grand Forks. In the audience. Good for the state of North Dakota. Good for basketball that these two are playing each other again.
Yeah, it's really fun. That last night's men's game was fun, and this is another fun one today. A 2-point game going into the second quarter. Kind of exactly what we expected. Two teams that are deadlocked in the conference, finding themselves playing about the same style of play too.
Strong take by Rimdahl. Blocking foul going against Claire Orth.
Now Rimdahl does a nice job attacking, and Claire Orth is there. She might have been there just a hair too late. And that sends North Dakota State to the free throw line. And like you said, Alex, last time these two met, North Dakota State did some damage on the free throw line. So North Dakota has got to play a little bit better without fouling.
Tackled there by Rimdahl after the free throw miss. NDSU, by the way, has scored 13 in the last 17 points in this contest. UND carrying a 5-point advantage midway through the first. The Bison, though, have pushed back. It's North Dakota State team that was picked to finish 7th in the league. That's kind of where they've been the last couple of seasons. Elena Jarnett able to spin and knock down the jumper off the glass. You can see, though, Jory Collins in year number 1 starting to impose his style of basketball on this team. Still very much a half-court based offense, but a little more transition, a little more free-flowing than we saw under Maren Walsick over the last 5 years. And the success has come. This is the most conference wins they've had now since 2015.
Yeah, when they beat North Dakota at home early in the year, that kind of propelled them to a little bit of, gave them a little bit of momentum. And from there, I think they had won maybe 4 out of their 5 next conference games and just kind of went on a little bit of a run and was a big turning point in what I think is their conference season. And they haven't really missed a beat from that last game, playing some really competitive basketball.
Daniel Bagley, by the way, called for the offensive foul. NDSU entered that game against North Dakota back on the 19th of January with just 1 Division I win on the year, a victory over New Hampshire. Since then, though, they picked up 4 more in conference play. They put themselves in position to be playing on Sunday in the Summit League tournament. Claire Orth playing catch with Fleece. Julia getting the offensive rebounds. Over Dietz, but could not get the roll. Here come the Bison now. Terrere Van Gogh on the attack. And a foul on her way to the rim. Free throws on the way for the redshirt freshman.
Really nice job running hard in transition and going right through two North Dakota defenders. There you see Jacqueline Jarnott and Claire Orth both reaching in. One of those two has got to step up and stop the ball up a lot further away from the hoop than what they're doing. I've said it again, they can't let the Bison keep getting to that free throw line. They're going to make North Dakota pay.
If you look at the numbers, North Dakota State 5th in the conference in points per game. If you just look at conference scoring, right around 75 points a game. North Dakota, or correction, I'm sorry. That's what they give up, excuse me. Looking at the wrong line on my stat sheet. 68 points a game or so is what they average, around 7th in the conference. North Dakota, a much more offensive-minded team. Right in the middle of the pack in the Summit, over 72 points a game. Terrere Van Gogh, a couple of misses now in a row for NDSU, excuse me, but Rimdahl able to get the offensive rebounds. Scales on the drive. The kick to Geislerova. Michelle Geislerova, 7 for the junior from the Czech Republic. And now Borovic can't handle the pass in transition. Feels like sometimes this young North Dakota team with 6 freshmen, even though they've played a full season together, any young basketball team, mistakes seem to compound, and we've seen that here this afternoon.
Yeah, it seems like any time a team goes on a little bit of run and North Dakota needs that big stop to get, they have a turnover, and it seems to be one that it's an unforced sort of thing where you're just giving an errant pass, or you start dribbling, or you start running before you put the ball on the ground. North Dakota's got to clean some of those mistakes up that are really unforced, and they kind of do them to themselves.
Jarnett, good penetration, finding Fleece inside. That's been a good combination for the Fighting Hawks today. 8 points now for Julia Fleece, the lead back to 3.
Yeah, 3 assists for Elena Jarnott. She's doing a nice job distributing the basketball. When she gets at the top of the key, she's quick enough to put a little move on and then make a defender jump out and stop you, and then find your big or your friend Julia standing right under the block.
Riley Nudell, strong take inside. Fleece picking up the personal.
Nudell does a really nice job getting her head and shoulders to the rim and all the way up to the hoop, and that time Julia Fleece just extended her arms a little bit too much and didn't stay straight up.
First personal foul for Julia Fleece. She was one of 5 Fighting Hawks to foul out in the first meeting between these two. Foul trouble been an issue for Julia at times this season. Teams have gone inside, and especially when Melissa Leet was not available, North Dakota didn't have many options in terms of post players. Sofija Zivaljevic, 26-21. Nudell able to connect on both free throws. Leet back in the game. Trying to spin back to the left. The non-cast hand can't go. Olivia Lane, though, the freshman on the offensive rebounds, tied up by the senior Nudell. UND will keep possession. Second tie-up, though, that we've seen forced by the Bison at this end.
Yeah, they're really, really scrappy and doing a nice job of trying to get their hands on any ball that they can get it on. And you see them, look for them to maybe attack Melissa Leet a little bit since she doesn't have that strength in her one hand. We saw that a little bit earlier where they dropped it out, knocked it right out of her hand, but that time it was Olivia Lane with a good old board and then just brought it down enough that a player like Riley Nudell could tie her up.
Claire Orth on the drive. Did everything but the finish that time. A heads-up play by Orth to get loose on the baseline. Zivaljevic now to Cobbins. Foul before the shot. Lily Keplin, the freshman from Bismarck. A little too much contact on the drive. Keplin, who was a bright spark in the first meeting between these two. 13 points for her on that game down in the shack. Trying to get the offense going. She will take a seat now after that personal. Michaela Renke back on. Bison shooting 50% from the floor. North Dakota around 43%. 6 turnovers for the Fighting Hawks. Geislerova, second tray of this quarter. Michelle Geislerova now 4 of 7 from the floor, 2 for 2 from deep. She's got 10 points, and her team's got another turnover forced here. Cobbins in transition, the pull-up too strong. Olivia Lane, good strength inside to win the basketball back. Biggest lead of the ball game for either team. But North Dakota cut into it here. Newsell nearly jumping the pass. Baravich will pull up. Casey Baravich with the 3.
Not a shot we see quite often out of Casey Baravich. Only number 3 like that. A lot of times she's creating, turning a corner, using that quick one dribble pull up. But hey, North Dakota needed a big bucket, and that was it. Now they need to get a big stop down here and get some momentum back in their favor.
Dietz now powering this one up. Another rebound for Lane. Now Baravich more known for her mid-range game. Just a 21% three-point shooter, but certainly capable from distance. She's got her team back within 5. Oh, Renke just gives that one to Zivaljevic. The easy lay-in for the junior point guard. Got to have a short memory now if you're North Dakota. North Dakota State foul. Foul, talk about North Dakota inside.
Yeah, North Dakota has done a nice job pushing the issue, getting some good looks inside. 14 points of their 24 have come in the paint. They really need to rely on that more in this second quarter.
Both have similar schedules next weekend as well. They will each finish with a game against Omaha. And they'll also take on one of the South Dakota schools. NDSU's games will be at home, though. UND's will be on the road. But you get the sense, again, the winner of today's game have a big advantage in the fight for 6th place. As Nudell, oh, it's going to be Terrer Van Gool. Awfully deep inside, able to finish underneath the basket.
It's a very handy score. You don't see that happening very often, where you have the ability to flip it right over the front of the rim and score it.
Terrer Van Gool, a good spark off the bench today. 4 points in 8 minutes. Lane now on the drive, up and over Dietz. Megan Zander able to finish that time.
That was one way of grabbing a rebound, I guess. Megan Zander has those long arms and that long reach, and she just really lucked out to go over the top and grab that rebound.
I think we both expected that to be an over-the-back call.
Yep.
Zivaljevic on the other end, able to get to the rim and finish, so the lead gets back to 9. Good first half for Zivaljevic as well. 9 points now for the junior point guard. Fleece on the drive. Julia Fleece, she's in double figures. Both offenses starting to come alive at the tail end of the first half.
Yeah, North Dakota, they're taking a lot of good looks. We mentioned that a little bit earlier. They're just not falling. And so North Dakota needs a big momentum play, kind of like that, just to get a little bit more confidence, I guess. They've got a lot of good looks that are going around the rim, and they're just kind of rolling in and out. So North Dakota just needs to keep doing what they're doing. You get a really good second look at it, and Julia Fleece does a nice job seeing what's going to happen, gets outside the charge circle there, and just takes a good charge for her team.
Second personal now on Sofija Zivaljevic. She will sit. Full scales back on. 7-point ball game. Lead going to work. Fouled by Dietz inside.
Melissa Leet does a nice job gathering the ball and creating the contact there, and sometimes that's what you got to do. Emily Dietz has done a really good job playing some on-the-block defense so far, making Olivia Lane take some tough shots, Melissa Leet take some tough shots. So credit to Emily Dietz. She's playing hard post defense on the block.
And we saw Melissa at the free throw line the other night against South Dakota State. Hit the 2 opportunities that she had in that game and laughed as it was happening because she was almost surprised with the club on her hand that she was able to get the ball up and in from there. She's now 1 for 2 1 for 3, excuse me, from the line here this afternoon. The entry pass by Scales tipped away. It'll stay with the Bison. I think it's safe to say anything that North Dakota can get offensively out of Melissa Leet will be a bonus today.
Yeah, she's really in there just as a big presence on defense, hoping to help the guards as a second-line defender, but you don't need a second-line defender when you're shooting the ball like that, Alex.
Geislerova again from deep, her 3rd triple of the ball game. She's got 13, one of the best shooters in the conference. 35% from deep. She's the best free throw shooter in the nation. She's not made a trip there yet, but broke the NCAA record for consecutive free throws made as Fleece knocks down the jumper.
Showing off just a little bit of range. She started on the block, and Riley Nudell kind of forced her out on the catch, and nice turnaround jumper from about 15.
Feed inside, digs the basket and the foul. Anytime North Dakota's trimmed the lead a little bit, it feels like the Bison have had the immediate answer.
Yeah, great court vision there by Riley Nudell, and a good slash across the lane by Emily Dietz. You saw Elena Jarnot trying to jump in front of that and just not quite there, and then the little bump by Zander sends her to the free throw line.
Dietz can't convert the three-point play, but the lead goes up to 10 as Jarnot. They step over to get loose, finding Zander. Those shots at the rim just have not fallen for North Dakota. Good look for the freshman. And then the Bison will give it back. Turnover forced there by Claire Orth, knocking it off the legs of Geislerova. Claire Orth today, no points, 0 for 2 from the floor, but a couple of steals, a block. Just a pest out there on the defensive end of the basketball. Here she is now on the drive. Fleece on the offensive rebounds. Julia fighting for it. It'll be a jump ball. She and Nudell tied up on the block. Bison possession this time. And Travis Brewster hoping that continuation, they would allow that play to carry out as Fleece was able to rip it away from Nudell, but the jump ball already called.
Yeah, Julia Fleece is being a lot more active today than we've seen her. 6-12 from the field already, 12 points, 4 rebounds, 1 foul and 1 turnover. She's really, she's been really the one that's held it together out there for North Dakota.
Nudell able to power that one through the contact. Riley Nudell over 100 career starts in her time in Fargo. A 4-year starter for this team. She's got her team with a 12-point advantage, and another miscommunication in the backcourt as Orth and Zander not on the same page. 8th turnover now with the first half for UND. 40 seconds remaining and still halftime. Travis Brewster with a couple of changes to the lineup. Fleece will get a breather. Leet on the bench as well as Lane and Ranke come on. Scales on the drive. Her pass knocked away by Orth. Another steal for the sophomore. 2-on-1 chance to Zander. Bumped and the foul.
Yeah, this North Dakota crowd is just waiting to get excited about something, and hopefully that'll do it for them. Claire Orth with the steal, and Zander having the ability to run the floor and run as hard as she does. Great pass to pass there by 2 young players just making a play, and the North Dakota fans are up. They're just waiting. They're waiting for something that can get them cheering early this afternoon.
Zander too strong, cannot convert the three-point play. A little over a second difference between game and shot clock. Joey Collins calling for his team to slow down. At minimum, you want to take this double-digit lead into the half. Scales on the drive, intercepted by Zander. 10 to play in the half. Zander right to the rim. Back-to-back strong finishes for the freshman. 3 seconds left now for the Bison. Scales, step back from half court. Oh, off the rim, but does not drop. A flurry for UND. It is the Bison getting the job done on the road. Again, they have not won in Grand Forks since 2004, but they have won 2 of the last 3 in this series. It's an 8-point lead as we start the third quarter of play. Alex Seinert, Val Sussex, Jeremy Klein, our producer, Mike Dermott, our director. Mary Horton pushing the buttons, Quentin Coulter back in Sioux Falls in the control room, making things happen here today as Jacqueline Jarnett steps back and knocks down a long 2-point basket.
Looks like that's Jacqueline's 4 points. She had 2 in the first half and 2 in the second half. So hopefully she can get a little momentum behind her and continue that, because North Dakota needs her to score from the outside.
Jarnett, a player that averages nearly 10 a game. She's had some big offensive outputs this season. Struggled a bit of late at that end. She was quiet against South Dakota State on Thursday. Julia Fleece hoping that outside shooting was contagious, but could not connect from the top of the key. Zivaljevic now, nice find inside. Dietz on the lay-in.
Yeah, it's a tremendous run in transition and find.
Megan Zander, who started this second half after that strong second quarter. Another finish at the rim for Zander. She's in double figures. Zander, who got hot at the start of Summit League play. 4 games in a row with 10 or more, but she has not had a double-digit scoring game since the Omaha contest in this building back on the 9th of January. Good to see her getting the offense going as Emily Dietz cashes one in at the other end. Fleece nearly the 3-point play on North Dakota's latest offensive possession. A couple of free throws on the way, though, for the junior forward.
Yeah, no surprise that Elena found a little bit of a lane to penetrate and drop down, gave a nice drop down pass for Julia Fleece there. She wishes she had that one back, though. Those are the little things, those little layups. You got to make those into 3-point plays.
We spoke about this at halftime. The free throw shooting was so good in Fargo in the first meeting between these two. Julia Fleece, the epitome of that, 14 for 14 in that game. A 79% free throw shooter on the season, and she gets both of those. 14 now for Fleece. A little full court pressure here by North Dakota that NDSU breaks. Circling Rimdahl back in the contest with the basketball. As Jory Collins going to the bench early in the half. Tough move by Newdell inside. She'll be going to the line for a chance at 3.
Yeah, you'll see Newdell here. She gets a good pass, and she uses that left side of her body really well to bump Jarnett back and then finish strong with her right hand.
7 points, 3 boards, 2 assists for Newdell. Quick to make that 9 now after that bucket. She's in double figures. Zander on the drive, a little out of control, and Newdell picks the pass off. 3-on-2 for the Bison. Zivaljevic back to Newdell. Another tough finish inside for the senior. 5-0 run for NDSU. Travis Brewster needs a timeout. We will take 4 steps in the 30s. The sun's out. A little hints of spring. I know it's not going to last, Val, but it's nice. It's nice when you get a reminder of what it's like.
Yeah, sometimes you feel like you don't even have to wear a coat out there, and then you're like, oh yeah, it's 36 degrees. What am I thinking? But when we're used to it being like -20, you might as well leave your coat in the car.
50-point gap. Or 50-degree gap, excuse me, as we're talking basketball here. Zander stripped. Newdell's going to give it right back, though, to turnover against the senior. We heard Jory Collins during a timeout in the first half upset at his team with mental mistakes, unforced errors. We saw a couple at the end of the first half that allowed UND to cut the lead into single digits. We saw one right there from a senior player that has played a ton of basketball and sort of knows better when it comes to a quick drive like that. Claire Orth, good save for the sophomore, able to finish with the right.
Yeah, Claire, that was good. She kind of made something out of nothing there. A couple of the ball screens high that North Dakota has been so successful with. Didn't free up Elena Jarnett at all, so Claire Orth really kind of took it upon herself to dribble around enough to find a corner and get into the paint. Geislerova
blocked by Jarnett that time. Good hustle by Vagley, but she can't save it. Even though Geislerova has that low shot. She gets it off so quick that you hardly ever see this happen.
No, you don't. Maybe she didn't see Elena there. Elena snuck that little hand in there. But yeah, her shot comes up a little bit from lower, but it is so darn quick. Like you said, I don't know if I've ever seen her blocked in person. That was a first.
Geislerova now 3 of 4 from behind the arc. Well, now Gherdan and Fleece just not on the same page. Another turnover for UND. Zivaljevic spinning in the lane and finishing. Sofija Zivaljevic. Her big afternoon continues. She's in double figures with 11. The same margin for the Bison in this contest. Lily Kaplan now. Big time 3 for the freshman.
Yeah, whenever she's in the game, North Dakota State has got to know where she is, because they're going to try to run her off screens and get her open at the top of the key. You know, to fight back from being 8 down, I think North Dakota's got to use a little bit of inside and outside play, and Lily Kaplan's one of the girls who can get it done on the outside.
Dietz on the drive, cannot connect. Nudell a second chance. Fleece fighting for the rebound, and Nudell's going to be called for the foul. There have been a couple of those scrums under the basket with everybody fighting so hard for the loose basketball. Fleece this time deemed to have been hacked in the attempt.
Yeah, it's very physical down there. I think everybody wants that basketball and know how important it is, and there's kind of arms and legs everywhere.
Nudell will head to the bench. Kaplan on the other end. This one a little bit too short. Really an outstanding three-point shooter. It's only taken 2 now on the day. And Zivaljevic, as she's done so often, getting into a position to make something happen around the rim.
That's just a great finish there. She was basically almost behind the hoop when she threw that thing at the rim, and that's a tough one. If you're Elena Jarnett, you never want to foul and let someone go to the line for a three-point line. If you're going to foul, at least make sure they don't make the hoop. But great strength and finish by Zivaljevic.
Perfect from the field. 6 for 6 for the junior from Montenegro. North Dakota, who led for the majority of the first quarter, was trailed by as many as 12 in this contest. They had the lead down to 6 a moment ago. The Bison pushing back, and now Baravic gets her legs taken out from underneath her. Zivaljevic had a little bonk in the head for her troubles. That's going to be her 3rd personal. So Zivaljevic with 3. Nudell, by the way, has 3 as well. So a little foul trouble for Joy Collins to negotiate here in the middle of the 3rd. Kaplan, the quick release. Terrer Van Gool able to connect off the glass and in. Bison up by 13. North Dakota needs a spark here on this offensive trip. Olivia Lane powering in. There you go. Basket in the foul for the freshman. Second personal on Emily Dietz. A free throw on the way for Lane when we come back. The Bison, however, an 11-point advantage at the tail end of the 3rd.
Yeah, she does a nice job kind of controlling her dribble, pushing the defender back exactly where she wants to shoot it from on the floor, and then getting the hoop and the harm and hoping to get this thing 1 point closer here at the free throw line, but not quite getting it to drop.
The free throw always continue here for North Dakota. They've only been there 7 times, but now 3 of 7 from the line. Terrer Van Gool unable to connect this time. Baravic in transition, trying to push the pace. Last touched inside by Geislerova. Even Casey Baravic that time, I think, no, she got away with one. A tough pass in traffic.
Yeah, she was almost on that opposite corner of the floor, and there was a lot of people between herself and Megan Zander, so that was just a tricky one.
Casey Baravich, though, taking up forward with the baseline runner. The lead back to single digits. Baravich, who had 19 in the 13-point defeat to South Dakota State the other day, trying to get going offensively. She's got 5 now, and now she helps force the turnover. Nicole Sales stepping on the end line.
That's what North Dakota needs to do, get a stop and try to build off it offensively, but it starts on the defensive end. They have to get a stop, and they can't trade buckets.
4 freshmen and a sophomore on the floor for North Dakota. One of those Frosch, Keplin just off the mark for 3. We've said it a lot this season, she's gonna keep shooting them, and when she gets hot, they'll start to drop. Just 1 of 4 now from the outside for Lily Keplin. Scales will crank one from deep. This one no good. Dietz, though, on the offensive glass. Blocked by Lane inside. Good defense by the Bison, getting back in time.
Got 4 freshmen and a sophomore on the court for North Dakota. It could be a look of what's to come in future years for these Fighting Hawks.
Keplin, another one that just not on target from behind the arc. UND now 2 of 10 from 3 this afternoon. Good ball movement here. Terrera Van Gogh for 3. Too strong. Orth able to dive in, collect the rebound, and get stripped up by Dietz. 3rd personal now on the West Fargo, North Dakota native.
That's one good thing for North Dakota. North Dakota State has 5 team fouls, so now any foul here in this last 2:41 that North Dakota State commits will send North Dakota to the free throw line. The perfect time to cut into a little bit of a lead is when the clock is stopped.
Wholesale changes here for both teams. A little confusion about who's actually in the ball game. We're still getting it figured out. Riley Nudell has 3 personal fouls, and I don't think that Jory Collins wanted to put her into the game. She went in on her own volition that time. He's got his senior forward back on the bench now as Orth gets set to take these free throws. Another good afternoon for Riley Nudell. 12 points to go along with 4 boards, 3 steals, and a couple of assists as well. Claire Orth able to pick up 2 big free throws there. The lead down to 7, about as close as UND has been. Terrera Van Gogh blocked by Zander at the rim. Megan beaten off the dribble, but able to make it up. That long reach, swatting the ball out of bounds.
Yeah, Megan Zander is really lucky she has long arms on that one. She was beat off that first step. She seemed to be out of position kind of with her weight on one foot and the ball going the opposite way.
Zander at 5'10". A long athletic guard. 2 times All-State in North Dakota and the reigning Miss Basketball in the Peace Garden State. 7 to shoot. Rimdahl. Over to Vagley. Just got it off and does not connect. Not a bad look that time with the clock winding down. And the issue comes away empty, though. Fighting Hawks a chance to get a little closer with 2 minutes to go in the 3rd. Zander on the block. Oh, Megan Zander over Danica Vagley. Basket and the foul. How did she get that to drop?
I think, I don't know, she had her feet set, she was moving, and she uses her length to just create a little bit of space, and you'll see her use that right hand and kiss it just off the glass. Maybe Megan Zander knows a little bit more about post play than I thought she did. That was quite impressive. You don't see what I would consider a taller guard. I know it says forward there, but she made a really, really good post move there.
Danica Vagley goes 6'2". She's got long arms. She's got a 4-inch height differential on Xander. And then you can see her teammates fired up there. A big play in this basketball game. She gets all three of those, and all of a sudden, Val, 58-54, 4-point lead for the Bison. UND is stormed back here at the tail end of the third. Bison in some foul trouble, but now UND is going to pick up a foul themselves as Fleece gets called for the push in the back. Olivia Skibble, a 6'1" freshman out of the state of Washington, knocked in the lower back that time by the junior Fleece.
Yeah, not a bad foul for North Dakota. Only the third team foul of this quarter. So they've got one more freebie to commit before they put North Dakota State at the free throw line. So let's see if North Dakota can get another big stop here and try to chew into this lead a little bit more.
It's just the second personal as well on Julia Fleece. Nicole Scales running the points. Tough shot off the block. Knocked out, last touched by Elena Jarnett. Skibble was in the area. The shot clock is not going to reset, so just 4 to shoot here for the Bison.
You see that one, yeah, it doesn't even hit the rim. Good angle there on the replay, so 4 to shoot.
Collins throws that one off the arms of Jarnett. Now 2 to shoot for the Bison on this possession. Scales to inbounds. Terrere Van Gogh up and over Renke, but she can't get it to drop. Elena Jarnett, ooh, maybe got away with the travel that time. Big possession for UND. Can they get a little closer at the tail end of the third? Jarnett on the drive, can't finish at the rim. Here come the Bison in transition. Scales. The kick out to Collins. Ryan Cobbins, excuse me, takes the bump. There was that free foul that you talked about. It was in the act of shooting, though, so Ryan Cobbins heading to the free throw line for a couple.
Ah, that's such a tough one when you're a post player. Julia Fleece picks up her third foul. She's just standing her own, and there's contact that's created, and they get her with a little body foul, and unfortunately, yeah, it is only 4, but sends them right to the free throw line.
Cobbins a chance to stop this 7-0 run for UND. Quiet day for the freshman from Kansas after she had a career day against UND in their last meeting. Ryan Cobbins 81% at the free throw line. The 6-foot guard able to get them both. Scales able to jump in front of the pass. Possession will stay with UND. Joey Collins, an intense figure on the sidelines. This team's had so much success down in Kansas. 5 MIAA tournament championships, 6 trips to the D2 national tournament, 1 trip to the Final Four. They won the title in 2010 when he was an assistant.
Yeah, he demands perfection. Just watching him and listening to what he's saying to his players, he really doesn't have time for any mental mistakes or any errors like that. And he's got this Bison basketball team going in the right direction.
Melissa Lee, who's not seen much action in this second half, sees the first shot attempt blocked away by Cobbins. Still 16 to shoot for UND on this possession, 32 to play in the quarter. Baravic knocked over here, so a couple of free throws coming for the freshman from Roseau. Cobbins called for the personal. Olivia Lane back on as Travis Brewster goes offense for defense, with Fleece checking out with those 3 personals. Baravic, an 87% free throw shooter, 5 points today for Casey. Couple of big ones there for the freshman. The lead back to 4. Baravic now replaced by Renke. Full court pressure here by UND, and they force the turnover, or do they? Good hustle by Vagley. It'll be a jump ball possession with the Bison.
I thought Megan Zander might just have a jump on that one, but the angle over here must have been tough. I thought she was going to beat her to it, but credit to Vagley. She got there quick to tie that thing up.
North Dakota's done a nice job with this full court pressure at times. It's a very situational press that works when you're not expecting it. Bison able to hang on here. Just over a second's difference, actually less than a second's difference here between shot and game clock. Chance for NDSU to close the quarter with the basketball. Terrera Van Gool open for three. Too strong. Jarnett the rebound. 4 to play. Up to Orth. Right at the buzzer. Claire Orth. Big basket for the Fighting Hawks. And the lead is down to 2 as we head to the 4th. Heads up basketball for the senior Elena Jarnett. Travis Brewster's team able to erase nearly all of that deficit. They now trail by just 2 with 10 to go. The 83rd meeting all time between these two. So much history and prestige between these two programs. A lot on the line today, and now North Dakota, instead of tying this basketball game up, a 3-second violation against Julia Fleece is going to give the ball back to the Bison.
Yeah, Brew is imploring to his guards to throw the ball into her. She is open, but there's a lot of hands in those passing lanes for the Bison, and those North Dakota guards just don't want to make another mistake. They already have 12 giveaways. They just didn't want to force anything in there.
The Bison have gone cold. Just one field goal, in their last 11 attempts. Another miss here, no offensive board. NDSU at one point had been shooting around the 60% mark. They're down to 47%. Even though North Dakota's offense has certainly picked up over the last couple of minutes, defensively, that's been the difference and what's allowed them to get back in this contest.
Yeah, exactly. North Dakota's defense has just picked it up that much more that last half of that 3rd quarter, just to make shots a little bit harder to come by.
Not a bad look for Fleece on the block. She can't get that one to drop off the window. Zivaljevic on the baseline, finding Cobbins. Another 3 that goes begging. What a contact down low on that loose ball. The Bison able to get there first. North Dakota winning the battle on the glass, although it's been pretty much even. A +3 for UND. 9 offensive boards for NDSU. Won't be a second chance opportunity here, but Dietz will be going to the free throw line as Fleece just picked up her 4th.
That's such a tough one for Julia Fleece. You're kind of doing all the things you want to do. You're sliding your feet, you're moving along. I don't know. I might agree with Julia Fleece on this one. She's playing some pretty good defense. I don't know what else she could have done to play straight up defense.
Dietz, only a 61% free throw shooter on the season, misses the front end. And airballs the seconds. A couple of changes for Travis Brewster as Zander and Fleece will come off.
Looks like Brew's going a little bit small ball. You don't see a Fleece elite or a lane in there. So I'm guessing Jacqueline Jarnett might be your 5 if you're Coach Brew, or maybe he's got a little 5-out action he's drawn up. We haven't seen much 5-out from North Dakota this year. Maybe now's the time.
Zander, by the way, has stayed on. She was just going to her spot in the corner. And now as we say that Olivia Lane's going to check in. And now Megan Zander will sit.
There's the change. Okay, that makes sense.
Right.
All is right in the world. I knew that look didn't look right with Jacqueline Jarnett trying to be a 5 and Emily Dean standing there on the block. So Brew just needed a little extra time to figure out exactly who he wanted to put in the game, I guess.
60-58. The Bison have led since the middle portion of the 1st quarter. Up by as many as 13 at one point in this contest. A great comeback here by UND, and Jacqueline Jarnett gets her team level. Jacqueline with 6. Nice righty hook from the left-handed shooter. And this run continues for the home team.
I just love how Jacqueline used Olivia Lane there as kind of a little bit of a decoy to get exactly where she wanted to. And just like that, the senior from NDSU responds. Riley Newdell's kind of been the gal for them to make those big shots when she needs to, and she knocks down her second 3 of the night.
Traveling here against Sky Slarova, and she's upset about that because there was contact inside when she caught the basketball off the miss. They will stay with UND though. Newdell, by the way, 15, excuse me, now for the senior from Buffalo. Quietly one of the best three-point shooters in the conference, 5th in the Summit League if you just look at Summit League conference games in terms of three-point percentage. Up near 43% on the season as Lane now gets her pocket picked. Dietz touched it last though. Still 22 seconds on the shot clock for North Dakota in this possession. Claire Orth backing down Cobbins. Over to Keplin now. Good defense here by the Bison. 6 to shoot for Jarnett. Lane to set the screen. Elena blocked away by Dietz. Zivaljevic, coast to coast. Able to stop on a dime on the block and finish. 16 now for Sofija Zivaljevic in a 5-0 run by the Bison. Have them back in front.
That was a good push by North Dakota State, but if you're North Dakota, you've got to stop the basketball. I don't care if it's your girl or not. Jump out, stop that ball. North Dakota has seen too much of that tonight with her going coast to coast.
And Olivia Lane now called for the offensive foul. She maybe got away with the moving screen on the last possession. This time, the whistle sounds. Turnover number 13 on the day for UND. North Dakota State with 11. Dietz inside. Good defense by Jarnett. The standard ground, but now Lane gives it right back to Cobbins. And a hard foul by the freshman is going to send Ryan Cobbins to the free throw line. Let's see, they might take a look at this if they deem there was contact to the head.
Oh, that was just a tough one for Lane. She wanted to get that ball to Jarnett and threw it without really looking, and tough one when you get a good stop and you're trying to get going the other direction.
No monitor check here, just a common foul against Cobbins. Unable to connect on the front end. North Dakota, who, I gotta say, used up a lot of energy at the end of that third quarter and the start of the fourth to come back from a 13-point deficit. They got level at 60. Bagley on the offensive glass after Cobbins missed them both. Gets her attempt blocked away. Offensive rebounds here. Second chance opportunities for the Bison. So important in this contest. 10 boards. 6 second chance points. Doesn't seem like a lot, but again, in a 5-point game, all those extra possessions matter.
Yeah, every one of those O boards is going to make a difference because North Dakota is trying to play the best defense they can when we know they're not the best defensive team. So when they do finally get a stop, it's just heartbreaking to give up an O board and have to play defense for another 30 seconds.
Newdell with the step through, fouled on her way to the rim, is leaked. Fresh in the contest, picks up the personal. 4th team foul for UND, so free throws the rest of the way for the Bison.
It'll be interesting to see when Coach Brew decides to put Julia Fleece back into the game with those 4 fouls. You've got 6.5 to go. Your team's down 5 points. How long do you wait, Alex? How long do you let her play for? What kind of trust do you have in your best post player that's having a great game today with 14 points and 7 rebounds? Fleece
still leading UND in scoring. Newdell with that free throw now tied with Zivaljevic for the Bison team lead, 16 apiece for those two. 66-60. Jacqueline Jarnett going to her left. Can't finish this time. Zivaljevic on the rebounds. The junior point guard right to the rim. Can't finish. Here comes Leith the other way. Claire Orth bumped by Geislerova. Now the whistle sounds. Basket will not count. That, by the way, just the first team foul for NDSU in this quarter.
Yeah, very headsy play by an upperclassman there in Geislerova, knowing that she's probably going hard to the rim. Try to bump her, take that foul since it's only her second, and stop the transition.
Zivaljevic off now with those 3 personals. Scales back on to run the points for NDSU. Xander free off the inbounds. Too short though. North Dakota now 2 for 12 from behind the arc today. Rimsall on the drive. Blocking foul here. Orth claiming she had position. She was awfully close to the cylinder, maybe just outside it. Let's take another look here.
Yeah, Claire saw this coming and she stepped over there. I don't know, she was outside the circle. I think it just has to do with timing. Was she planted by the time Rimdahl left the ground? The ref said she wasn't, so I guess she wasn't.
Quiet offensive day for Rimsall, but that's typically her game. Only averages under 3 points a contest, around 2 rebounds, an energy kid off the bench. Able to get 1 of 2 at the stripe. NDSU, by the way, 2 for their last 6 at the free throw line now. Lassen shooting under 60, let's see. As these stats update, 50%, 12 for 24 from the line, well under their season average. Claire Orth now fouled on her way to the rim. Geislerova. 3 now on the junior sharpshooter from the Czech Republic. Geislerova, by the way, yet to score here in the second half. All 13 of her points coming in the opening 20 minutes. Offensive rebound by Xander, and Travis Brewster just wants a timeout. She was in a crowd of Bison underneath the hoop. We'll take one as well with 5:11 left in regulation.
This game on Midco Sports Network is presented by Farmers Union Insurance.
Back to live action. Casey Baravich, the 3 in the corner. Xander, now Lane on the offensive glass, and she's fouled. Vaguely called for the personal.
Those are some huge old boards for North Dakota just to extend this offensive opportunity for them. A 7-point differential here with 5 minutes to go. North Dakota has got to start chipping away a little bit here.
Xander, tough take, can't get the finish, but she'll be going to the free throw line. And that's going to be another foul on Vaguely, and that's number 5 on Danica Vaguely. Back-to-back fouls on the junior big.
Yeah, that really slims out or thins out the bigs or the post players for North Dakota State. They really go kind of back and forth with Dietz and Boegley, and when Dietz needs a break. So you got 5 minutes playing down with 1 less post player.
Joey Collins has some taller players on the bench, but most of them are on the perimeter side of things. Ryan Cobbins, Olivia Skibble, both 6 foot or taller. Xander able to get 1 of 2, and now Scales just sees that basketball go through her hands. Unforced error for the freshman. Zivaljevic right back on in her place. About one of your keys today, play smart, play in control for North Dakota. Both of these teams really need to heed that over the final 5 minutes in such a big game for both programs.
Those mental errors can just kill you, and those non-clean catches or taking a step before you put the ball on the ground. All those little things, and especially when you're down 6 here, 4.5 minutes to go, come up with a really good offensive set. You can't just throw the ball at the rim.
Both of these teams at 5 and 8 in Summit League play, tied for 6th in the conference. 1 week to go in the season. Good look at 3 for Baravich. She's hit 1 today. That one does not drop, and North Dakota's struggles from behind the arc continue. Beats on the roll to the paint, touched it last. Another turnover forced by UND.
Talked a little bit about Julie on the bench with those 4 fouls. You got 4 minutes left in the game, and Coach Brew's got her back in there. She's got to be really smart, especially when she's on ball defense and setting those ball screens.
Jacqueline Jarnett too strong. Zander, though, on the offensive glass, cannot get that one up over the front rim. Another opportunity for UND to get closer with an offensive rebounds. Fighting Hawks down to 40% from the floor. Trailing by 6, under 4 to play. The Bison have not won in Grand Forks for 16 years. They're getting closer to ending that streak. Ryan Cobbins will be heading to the free throw line here in a moment. Another foul down low by the Fighting Hawks. Zander guilty of the personal.
Yeah, Ryan Cobbins is just too quick off the dribble for some of these North Dakota guards to stay in front of it, and that's exactly what happened. I think Zander kind of lurched out at her thinking she may shoot, and Cobbins puts that ball in the paint and attacks the rim.
Cobbins now 4 of 7 from the free throw line today. Typically an excellent free throw shooter, above 80% on the season. She does get both here, 2 big ones for the freshman. A 9-1 run for the Bison after it was tied at 60. Fleece inside, too strong. Jarnett kept it alive for a moment, but it'll be off the sophomore forward last. Another empty possession for UND. Whoever loses this game today, more than likely is going to be penciled in to that 7 seed, especially if North Dakota loses, because they would lose that head-to-head tiebreaker with NDSU if they would finish the regular season even in the standings. Zivaljevic unable to knock down the jumper. No second chance here for the Bison. Zander on the rebounds. North Dakota needs something on this possession. You get the sense. Orth on the drive, fouled by Geislerova with a push-off on the way to the rim. And that'll send UND into the bonus. 4th personal on Michelle Geislerova.
Now, Claire Orth has the right idea here. Really put your head down and attack the rim. You know, you got foul trouble on both ends. We've seen the hand check called quite often. So for North Dakota, I think they really need to continue to attack the rim and try to put NDSU defenders in that situation of, well, am I going to play hard defense? I'm going to try to keep my hands off. What am I going to do? Try to get yourself to the free throw line.
So Geislerova to the bench with those 4 fouls. Danica Bagley is already fouled out. Needell has 3, Dietz has 3, Zivaljevic has 3 as well. Fleece with 4 for North Dakota, Jarnett with 3, Jacqueline Jarnett that is. Nobody else with more than 2. A couple of clutch free throws from Claire Orth. Back to a 2-possession game, 69-63. Full court man picked up here by UND. We'll see how patient North Dakota State wants to be with this 6-point advantage. Now Zivaljevic, it's worked all night, goes right to the rim. Elena Jarnett thought she had played it straight up. She's called for the personal, though.
Yeah, she swiped in there at the ball, and I don't know, it seems like Zivaljevic is getting ahead of steam at the same spot on the top of the rail, crossing over to the left side of the floor, attacking the rim the same way every single time. You would think North Dakota defenders could maybe learn from repetition and step over and cut her off and stop her when she gets all the way to the rim. Bad things happen if you're a North Dakota fan.
Zivaljevic 1 of 2, but Dietz there again for the offensive rebounds. Even though they've only got 12-0 boards today, it feels like so many more because they've come in such key spots. Zivaljevic again, right down to that left block. Cannot connect this time. Fleece gets the rebound in traffic and is knocked over. A smile by Zivaljevic, but it will be her personal foul. That'll be number 4. So Fleece heads to the other end for free throws. This would be a different game if the Bison were up to their normal high standards from the free throw line. They shoot at 75% on the season, third best in the Summit. Just 54% today. 15 of 28 from the line. Fleece able to connect on both of hers at the other ends. Julia will sit now with those 4 personals. Olivia Lane back on. Just over 2 minutes to go. 70-65. North Dakota State. Dietz on the roll inside. Lane commits the personal. Dietz able to finish. And a free throw on the way for the junior forward from West Fargo.
Yeah, that extra pass made a huge difference on that ball screen. The pass zips over to Riley Newdell. She's got a better angle to feed that ball to Emily Dietz, and that's exactly what happened. You found a senior making a great play, and Emily Dietz finished through the contact.
The 6'3" junior now in double figures. 10 points to go along with 10 rebounds. Can't connect at the stripe. Still, though, the lead up to 7. Under 2 to play. Please trying to find Jarnett. She'll drive now. Dietz affecting the shot and doing so illegally in the process. 4th personal on Emily Dietz. More free throws on the way for Julia Fleece. The free throw numbers beginning to add up down the stretch. And for North Dakota, that's okay because they're making their free ones. Well, NDSU is making 1 of 2 typically per trip.
Exactly, yeah. The free throws have been kind of good for North Dakota to score some points while the clock stops, except for there where we just jinxed Julia Fleece. But it comes down to stops defensively. Get a stop. They're going to use the whole clock here, and you're only going to have about a minute left here to make a little run.
90 seconds remaining. Cobbins on the drive, off the window and in. Big take by the freshman. The lead back to 8. Jarnett, nice find inside to her sister, Jacqueline. Big bucket there. Jacqueline Jarnett with 8. Another assist for Elena. She's got 7 now. Quick timeout by Travis Brewster will stop things with 71 seconds left in this contest. 6-point ball game. North Dakota's been able to get about here in this quarter. NDSU's done a nice job of keeping them at arm's length.
Yeah, I think North Dakota coming out of this timeout, they better pick someone to foul. We've seen North Dakota State start missing some free throws here and there. If you can't trap and get that really quick turnover, that quick jump ball, try to get a foul in there and send North Dakota State to the free throw line and hope that their cold shooting from the free throw line continues.
Today, of course, the last home game for North Dakota this season. The women's team will be on the road at Omaha, at Vermillion this coming weekend. Both of those games will be live on Midco SN. They'll take on the Mavs on Thursday at 7 on Midco SN 2. A big game there. Omaha themselves in a battle just to make it to Sioux Falls. They had a big win yesterday over Purdue Fort Wayne in a battle of 1-win women's teams. They've got the inside track now for the 8th seed, and they've been pesky this season, so you can't necessarily chalk that up as a victory, especially down in Baxter Arena. UND will finish the year again at South Dakota on Saturday. Same two, well, not the same 2 teams exactly, but same caliber of teams perhaps for NDSU as they host South Dakota State coming up on the 27th and then home against Omaha on the 29th. Both of those games, of course, will be on Midco SN as well. 74-68.
Looks like North Dakota's content not fouling, and NDSU is going to be content using as much shot clock as they can, and then they go ahead and foul with 15 seconds on the shot clock. I just don't get that, Alex. You started with 30 seconds on the shot clock. If you're going to foul and you don't get a quick steal, foul right away. You're wasting so much time.
Maybe a case of Elena trying to swing around and poke the basketball loose, maybe just trying to be aggressive. But you would love to have those 15 seconds back as Zivaljevic heads to the free throw line. 3 of 6 from there today, make it 3 of 7 now. Again, like a lot of these Bison players, she's an excellent free throw shooter, 78% on the season. Not sure if it's just the student section down here, the rims on this end, but They've really struggled from the stripe today. Zivaljevic able to get 1 of 2. Pushing the lead now back to 7. Jacqueline Jarnitz unable to connect from 3. She'll foul Newdell quickly. And UND struggles. Well documented today from deep. 2 of 17 now from behind the arc.
12% from the three-point line. You're just not going to win too many games, Alex, when you're shooting 17 of them and only able to knock down 2 of them. I know we talked about the different people that have taken the shots. You know, Lily Kuplan took 6, Borovich took 3, Jarnett took 3. Those are some of your three-point shooters. Those are the ones that you want taking the shots and you expect to make them. And I think a lot of them were really good looks. They just weren't falling today.
It's a bit of a carbon copy of what we saw in this building on Thursday when UND was 2 of 13 from behind the arc against South Dakota State. Newdell able to connect on both. 9-point lead. Zander off the glass and in. Big triple by Megan Zander, and all of a sudden 2-possession game now with 38 seconds left. Jory Collins takes a timeout. I don't know if you're not swishing them. Let's use the window. Yeah,
you might as well. A little bit higher percentage when you're on the block to use the backboard, but Megan Zander gets it to work here. Very feasible here. You got 2-possession game. You got 38 seconds. If North Dakota can foul right away, get that quick foul right away, send the Bison to the free throw line and try to extend this game a little bit that way. It's not unrealistic for a comeback to happen. It's just, it's going to be tough, and North Dakota needs to work really hard to get that foul right away.
Megan Zander with 17. That's 1 point off her career high. We should mention in last night's men's game, it was a 5-point disadvantage for the Bison with about 28 seconds left, and they erased that gap in no time. UND trying to do the same, and they will put the nation's best free throw shooter on the line here. Zor committing the personal. Geislerova, who's not been to the stripe tonight, will be part of the reason why UND, or NDSU, excuse me, is not shot as high a percentage as normal. 74 consecutive makes from the free throw line, an NCAA Division I record. It's the 3rd longest streak all time in the history of NCAA women's basketball. Got a couple of pressure ones here to put this game out of reach.
A great sideline out of bounds play for the Bison. Get the ball in her hands and know she's gold from the free throw line.
That's the first point for Geislerova in the second half today. She's right on her season average, and she misses the second, so the streak is over at 75 in a row, and that keeps the window open for North Dakota. Zander, the quick 3, yes! Megan Zander, and it's a 4-point ball game. 28.6 to go, and a quick whistle here as Jory Collins needs a timeout. We heard him say a moment ago during those free throws, no threes, and Zander gets a good look.
Yeah, the only thing that can hurt you is a 3, and Elena Jarnett does a nice job. She feels pressure coming out on her. She sees a teammate open, and Megan Zander just comes up big. She's kind of been doing the same thing all afternoon for North Dakota. Comes up huge with that 3 to have 20 points on the day. Bison ball with 28 seconds left, and we'll see. I'm sure the ball's going into Geislerova's hands, and we'll see. I'm sure she'll still be money from the free throw line after she missed that rare miss.
78-74, Zander, the Mandan, North Dakota native, missed basketball in this state a year ago. Back-to-back trays, a new career high for her. It's given UND life. Geislerova does get the inbounds pass, and there is no foul immediately. Now Claire able to commit the personal. So Geislerova will head to the free throw line now. If you're UND, you have to expect both of these to go in to push it back to a 6-point lead. But nothing's automatic here. We'll see if Geislerova can start a new streak, and she does.
Now there's a lot going on behind the hoop. You might not be able to see it from this angle, but you got the entire football team back there with the hawk, and
there's a good look right there.
LeBron's face and everything that's going on back there, but big free throws to put it back to a 2-possession 6-point lead.
What a weapon to have. The best free throw shooter really in the history of women's basketball in this country. 80-74. Fighting Hawks need points. Zander, the pull-up 3, couldn't get 3 in a row. Fleece fighting for the loose ball, wanted the jump. She'll be called for the personal. And that'll be 5 now on Julia Fleece. Her afternoon will end. A good day for the junior. 17 points, 8 rebounds. She fouls out, though, for the second time against the Bison this season. That sends Cobbins to the free throw line now at the other end with a chance really to put this game to bed. Big free throw there to make it a 3-possession game with under 17 seconds to go. Through the Bison now. Just don't foul.
Just don't foul. Let North Dakota get the ball in and just play good defense between your person and the basketball and for your person in the hoop. Try not to give up any threes, but no silly fouls.
Keplin got that one partially blocked by Zivaljevic. It'll stay with UND. Great effort today from the home team, but North Dakota State, this team reborn in Summit League play. 7 seconds away from picking up their 6th conference win of the season. Keplin, short again, affected on that shot. And that's going to do it here from the Betty today. The Bison sweep the season series over the Fighting Hawks, 82-74. Jory Collins and company winning for the first time in Grand Forks